Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. What do we have in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card, we are starting our day off with today. I love to see this card coming into play. 3 of Cups. Remember what I mentioned about yesterday that was really sweet for the energy in the divine union frequency? That feeling of potentially putting a brave face on something, that feeling of moving into a space or place of positivity, even beyond what you might be feeling in a moment that could feel like a little bit more of a kin to a point of crisis. But that ability to keep the spirit high for the sake of the energy that you are in alignment with, in a way, is helping to boo you up in the process. We are seeing that this is the result of that right now. Sometimes we have to fake it a little to make it. Sometimes we need to kind of give ourselves that little jump start. So we see here that this is that modality of collective energy right now, even through something that feels like it's heavy, almost forcing that balloon to stay up in the air. And some of it may feel a little bit like putting the cart before the horse right now, moving yourself into the vibration that you desire to be in, almost dragging your own spirit with you on the way. And sometimes that is okay. That ability to do so, that ability to like pull yourself up by your own energetic bootstraps. What is sweet about this for the energy in the divine union frequency is you're not just doing it for the sake of oneself. In fact, it's easier. I have to stress, it's easier to do that when you're in the energy of the divine union, because it's harder when you're doing it. It's hard. I'll put it this way. When you are in the modality of the self, it's hard to do that for yourself because you can feel yourself doing it, and it's not like you can convince or trick yourself out of that, right? You know where you are. The energy in the divine union, the ability to do it in that performative way, that gift that you're giving, that grace of trying to keep one's spirits up for the sake of those around you, is in a way one of the advantages to the energy in the divine union because that's that modality of recognizing the strength of the multiplicity of the energy and helping lift your own spirits. So this is feeling more like that collective effort, if you will, if you're in the divine union frequency right now, in tapping that ball and keeping it up in the air. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This is something that you may be doing for each other right now. And one of the things that we're effectively seeing, and again, this is the only area right now that may require a bit more discernment. Because one of the things that we're seeing for the energy right now moving into the divine union frequency, some of the conversations that we saw were triggered or elicited as to relation to some energy falling out of union that's now coming back into the frequency had to do, if you will recall, with that observation of prioritization in recognizing and feeling like there was a modality or a moment where someone did not feel like someone was prioritizing the energy of the partnership and union over the energy around or surrounding the union itself. For energy in this modality, what we are effectively seeing at this time is this point. And I think that this is really important, especially if you will remember that one of the things that we were recognizing was the fact that for the energy coming into the divine union, a lot of this has been discerning and identifying the shape of divine union. We even saw that there's been a lot of difficult conversations for the energy moving into divine union, not just feeling the willingness to be able to like slap a stamp on something and say that's it, because a lot of the energy fell out of divine union specifically because it was a feeling that someone wasn't moving in accordance with what they were saying. So this ability right now to articulate not only on the energy in the divine union, but amplifying and articulating upon the energy surrounding a divine union is literally qualifying the fact that you're moving back into the divine union, because it is expressing and showing an openness and an ability to discuss all of the energy around you. And what we see here that's beautiful is this is not potentially creating a trigger point. It is allowing an openness. It is allowing a clarity, the ability to speak clearly about the energy around you, regardless of what it is almost expressing that amplification of authenticity that is occurring right now through dialogue. And that authenticity, that truth, that clarity is something that is necessary to maintain the frequency of the divine union. Now, energy that is in separation right now, this is some of the catharsis is potentially coming through right now if in separation. A lot of the energy in separation right now, this ability, we are seeing that a lot of energy right now is separating, healing karma as they separate, potentially a lot of it from a point of observation of two different modalities that are falling into play right now. Either an energy that feels that one has been too hurt, that there is too much pain that one is carrying, that one is not ready or willing or able to relinquish something that has been painful, even in the face of someone energetically trying to come towards you and asking for a point of healing and forgiveness. Recognizing that that is an internal act, that the ability to heal is there, but one is not ready, is almost allowing for a bit of easement, because that was that moment that we saw that some energy is almost literally separating right now with someone saying, if and when you are ready, know that I am here. The other modality that we're potentially seeing with a lot of energy and separation right now is potentially energy that has tried to come towards someone from a point of healing, tried to amplify a readiness or desire to heal. If that energy is not coming forward and showing an ability to heal, but is holding on to pain, holding on to anger, holding on to frustration, there is something that someone feels is almost energetically not providing any ability to move forward, because having to move in that modality of someone who potentially is not able to let go or release pain right now is almost creating a space that we see a lot of other energy is just going, okay, there's nothing else we can do. But again, this is that reflection point. If and when you're ever ready, you know that you can come back here, and I am also ready to do that work. That hope or that aspiration, healthy release processes right now, in a way, is what is allowing, even through separation right now, a feeling of some positivity to come into play, because it's that feeling of basically saying that one feels that you've done everything that one can do. And that in itself is allowing for almost some of that energetic easing and lightening. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Second card in our 5-card spread for today. We love these two cards in combination. We love these two cards in combination because, again, it's not, I have to stress, separation is not necessarily a bad thing if separation brings balance. It's not the question of whether one is in separation, because, again, finding that balance within is just as important as finding it without. The microcosm matching the macrocosm. It's more about feeling that sense of internal balance as one is in separation that almost allows for the feeling of a clearing of a karmic cycle so that you feel comfortable to proceed forward. We're seeing that even in separation right now, there's a lot of energy that is starting to feel like some of that healing is coming into play. This is why we saw so much energy right now trying to potentially even go back to some situations and circumstances to see if something or someone was ready to heal. The observation of looking and feeling like one is ready to heal and another energy isn't, even that is a bit of a clearing of a karmic cycle, because that's the recognition of the self being ready to heal something and having that moment of observation on where you are. Sometimes all you need to have to heal karma is recognizing where the karmic energy is. That in itself is enough clarification, because it gives you a coordinate on the map to be able to point at. You know, like the solution to the formula on what isn't necessarily working there. Masculine and feminine in this modality right now, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. You may not only be doing this right now, masculine and feminine, in any energy that may have caused you to be in separation. We see that you're potentially doing this kind of spiritual or energetic grooming, if you were, in all of the energy around you right now. Remember how we said a few weeks ago that the energy in the divine union frequency was almost moving with intentionality to doing this? Well, here's that ripple effect. Sometimes it just takes a little time to come through the wave. It takes a little time to like blend out in. The same message is now happening in separation. So there is almost this moment right now, if energy's in separation, if there's something here that you feel like you've made some kind of karmic clearance or closure on, you're kind of amplifying this by doing it and looking at other connections around you right now and saying, is there anything else I can balance right now? And this may be requiring you either to open the door to new energetic possibilities, or going forward and trying to heal something right now because you're staying and maintaining that vibration and recognizing something that you brought forward. This is like the extension of that ability. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This ability of being able to speak openly, to speak with a point of balance, not just on what you are creating within the divine union that you're potentially coming back and forming right now, but also being able to talk openly about the energy outside of the union. That is amplification that you're moving into divine union, because I have to stress here, when you move into the divine union frequency, it's not pretending that you don't have any other karmic connections. It's not just imagining that everything else goes away. It is observing, it is discussing, it is learning more about, and having that ability to talk openly, not just about the energy in the divine union that you're forming, but in the energetic connections around the divine union, feels like it is bringing a better sense of balance. Because again, what is it doing? It is opening eyes. It is revealing. It is giving someone the gift of clarity. And that clarity brings with it not disruption, balance. Balance, because the balance is the choice and the observation. Masculine and feminine energy in the divine, in the heart of the divine union frequency. This ability, we even saw yesterday was a little bit more fake it till you make it. Yesterday was a little bit more keeping one's own spirits up for the sake of the energy in the collective that you're in that divine union with. This is that modality that we see, that now it's that moment of feeling that easement is almost coming into, is like outside in. The energy that you created in trying to keep something light, the energy in terms of almost insisting to yourself, I'm going to keep my vibration hard, if not for me, for the energy around me, has effectively done that. Like, you realize sometimes you can just force yourself into a better vibration state. You can do that. And so we see here, in a way, the ability to do that right now, the ability to just like lift each other's spirits energetically. It's giving me like that moment. You ever do light as a feather, stiff as a board? Everybody puts their fingers up and you lift. That ability to lift up, even when you weren't necessarily feeling it, and now feeling the impact of that, being able to feel like you've almost moved through something difficult, but also keeping one's spirits bright, maybe not necessarily even for yourself, but for the in terms of amplifying what you would desire in those around you. Sound like manifestation much? That in itself is effectively working right now and bringing balance to situations and circumstances, because that's that energetic collective energy of, again, not necessarily potentially feeling it, but allowing the energy around you to help lift you up. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, and boom, once we do that, we see masculine energy having their own spirits being lifted. Masculine, I know you've been going through it for the last few days. We've been seeing it. It's been heavy. It's been hard. Masculine and feminine in divine union. This card was reversed yesterday. There's been a moment where masculine, I told you over the weekend, out of spoons. Masculine was like the spoon store, was out of business. If you don't know what I mean by spoons, go look up the spoon theory. You'll get a lot of insight on there. But the point is, masculine energy was feeling a moment of energetic exhaustion, because throughout that retrograde cycle, masculine was almost energetically holding their breath on something, and now they're seeing the practical application on how something is playing out, that they put their energetic or spiritual effort into healing. Masculine, being able to recognize this right now, feeling the support in the divine union. Feminine energy, almost again, showing you that ability of keeping that positive modality even through difficult situations and circumstances right now. That in itself is immediately raising the energetic frequency of the masculine energy. It's keeping their spirits up, because that's that moment or opportunity where in masculine, and it may have felt again like a masculine, you may have felt like yesterday you had to kind of, fake it more until you made it. Now it doesn't feel so much as a fake. It's like, oh, you know what? I had to put on a brave face, but now that's just my face. Feminine, you may be seeing this right now. And this is also why we see that for a lot of the feminine energy, just not allowing themselves to amplify any feeling of anxiety that you are potentially feeling. Just trying to almost, feminine, we almost saw feminine almost coming from a point of like even keel, if you will. Just trying to maintain that even keel. This is feminine feeling like even that was a moment that allowed one's own spirit to be brightened, because you see the fact, and there may even, what's beautiful about this, there could even be a recognition right now in the divine union of amplifying, putting on that brave face, having that like everything's fine mentality, like everything's fine, like that in itself has effectively taken hold, because even being able to do so like that, being able to feel that kind of like grace under pressure, if you will, has now almost created a moment that feels like that in itself is the balance point, because it's almost a point of affirmation and confirmation, going through something's difficult and recognizing that the energy around you isn't going to crumble under that different difficulty, but is going to maintain a grace under pressure. That is the balance point. That is the point of victory. That is the point of success. That is the point of energetic healing and an affirmation of one's own healing journey. Masculine, it's not that feeling. It's just that observational fact that going on a healing journey doesn't mean that every day you wake up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and you never have a sad thought in the rest of your life. Recognizing it's how you are able to navigate those days that are less than bright and easy is the healing journey. And so that's what we see for the energy in the divine union, an ability to navigate that and not let it drop the energetic energy of the divine union, but being able to persevere through it and almost keep an even keel. Let the ship stay steady. That was the breakthrough. That was the success metric. And that's what we even see now is occurring, that is reinforcing and reinvigorating masculine on the energetic plane. Feminine, you may be seeing this right now. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union. This ability to speak openly about the energy that is surrounding you is affirmation and confirmation of a masculine energy that is learning how to be more open and vulnerable to feminine energy. We saw here, we identified a lot of this energy fell into separation, specifically because feminine felt like masculine was not giving them full clarity, full optics. Feminine almost saying to masculine, you need to be open with me. The divine union isn't about us pretending everything is one way. The divine union is an energy that we exist within that is built on co-creation and clarity. So for masculine energy that is coming towards feminine in this way, it's not just amplifying right now what the feminine wants to hear. It is giving feminine the clarity of optics, not only on your own emotions, but the way you feel about the energy surrounding you. This isn't feminine energy that assumes that once you move into divine union, everything just you just drop all the plates that you're holding. This is feminine energy that recognizes and realizes that a masculine energy that's able to open up and express their their emotional connections to energy outside of partnership. That identifies that there is partnership. Because that is someone who is showing someone, this is the circle that we inhabit. This is the circle that's here. This is the circle that's here. I'm giving you this clarity so that you can understand your place within my life. Masculine, you may be feeling like you're doing this. And again, potentially feeling like the beauty of the divine union energy is that feminine is potentially matching you in this way. Feminine is giving back what is being brought to them, the gift of the feminine. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This modality, this feeling of easement is immediately allowing, I have to stress, there's some energy right now that is closing cycles and there are new ones opening up almost on the heels of it. This is very fast. This is very, very fast. Why is it so fast? Because when we move out of something and we have that karmic healing, it immediately brings with it a sense of closure, because it doesn't necessarily feel like something is open-ended, because you feel like you observe and understand why you cannot be in union. For the energy right now that either, again, we see several different very well-healed modalities of coming into separation right now. We've seen over the last few days the energy of someone articulating and saying what they want, and the other energy saying, that is not what I want. You want that, I want this. Never the twain shall meet. So that's okay. Boom. Immediate karmic healing. I wish you well on your journey. We want very different things. Or we are seeing right now energy that recognized what they needed to change, observed and understood what potentially brought them into separation. Potentially, again, that energy is moving back into divine union in whatever shape that may be. The other energy wherein feminine asked for clarity and clarity or insight from masculine. Masculine wasn't able to provide it till too late. This is feminine, again, moving from an amplification and saying the damage is done. There's been too much hurt here. There's been too much that I see that feels like it cannot be changed. And even there, we see that that is feminine energy that is closing out a cycle because it's feeling like there's a moment of wanting a masculine energy that is able to be immediately open and expressive and providing feminine with the clarity and insight that they need and doing it in a timeline that doesn't feel like masculine is trying to figure out what that should be before presenting it to feminine. We're also seeing here that a lot of energy right now may be feeling like they're trying to heal towards someone right now. And what am I saying? It's the reflection of this. Someone saying too much damage has happened. I cannot forgive this because I don't think that there's a productive path forward. I am suffering too much. I am in too much pain to find a way to proceed forward. And so we see even in these modalities right now to be able to release something and say, if you are ready, if you are ready to learn a lesson, if you are ready to heal, I will be here. You know where to find me, is almost allowing for an immediate karmic healing to happen because it's a feeling of, again, closing out a cycle with intentionality and saying, I'm doing this because I think that this is the best for both of us. And having that ability to come into a karmic closure as you move out of a cycle allows one to feel balanced enough to immediately be able to kick something back off. So a lot of energy right now, even if in separation, feeling a lot of peace and potential catharsis coming through with the observation and understanding on why something was not working and why something is not working now. And potentially with that hope that observing why something is not working now does not mean that a cycle is closed. It is having the hope and aspiration that someone can return at some later point, having learned the lessons that they feel that you need them to learn, or being ready to release the pain that may be creating a blockage point and being able to move forward with them. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is King of Cups in its reversal. Now, one thing that's very interesting about this right now, particularly for the energy in the divine union frequency, and I need to stress this, I'm not saying everything is hunky-dory here. I was going to say, we did see that there's still a lot of overwhelm that's happening. But what's happening right now for masculine energy in the divine union frequency? This is really important. Bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. We see here, it's not the fact that masculine, you're not still feeling like you're going through a point of emotional overwhelm. What are you being able to do through that emotional overwhelm? You're figuring out how to communicate through it. You're figuring out how to communicate through it. It's not the fact, what did we say? Faking it until you're making it. Faking it until you're making it can also be described as coming into a point of composure. Being able to find a way to communicate when you're feeling less than ability, like the desire to communicate is not there. It's not what you want to do. Moving yourself. This is masculine, literally teaching yourself how to do this. How to communicate at a moment that is very hard for you to communicate because you're feeling that emotional overwhelm right now. This is the gift that is being found in the divine union. Masculine, your own ability to do so, because again, this is masculine energy that recognizes that the divine union is like a magic well. What you put into it is what you will get out of it. Is masculine energy putting emotional overwhelm into the well? No. Masculine's like, I'm not going to do that. If I start moving like that, then the energy around me is going to start moving like that. And then all we're going to have is that. Masculine energy is amplifying the energy frequency that they want to maintain with the feminine energy that they are in divine union with, which is, again, keeping that modality and I have to stress this. This is the important thing here. This isn't a masculine energy that is pretending that everything is fine. This is almost masculine energy that is amplifying even through their modality of communication right now, being like, I'm not fine, but I'm fine not being fine. The fact that masculine can almost amplify right now and articulate and say, I'm not fine, is the breakthrough point, is the modality of healing, because that is even a masculine that even going through something that is potentially overwhelming. This is moving with intentionality, communicating and articulating the thing that is unable to be articulated. Even having that ability to do so is the breakthrough, because it's not the fact that you're going through an emotional overwhelm. You're finding an ability to maintain emotional balance throughout it. Remember, this is the whole work of why you were proceeding in this way prior to the Mercury retrograde starting. Extending one's own ability to heal within the self through encountering experiences that are triggering, but not letting them trigger you. Feminine, seeing a masculine moving in this way in itself is its own form of celebration, because this is feminine that recognizes the masculine's own ability to do this is almost, again, proportionate to feminine not exacerbating or not making a masculine energy feel like everything has to be emotionally balanced all the time. This in a way feels like a victory point or benchmark for the feminine energy if in divine union, because this is looking towards a masculine that can maintain emotional balance through emotionally overwhelming situations and circumstances, and it reinforces the feeling of feminine from a place of safety and security in the divine union frequency, even through a moment of crisis. Because this is almost the energetic frequency, not allowing that feeling of externalized crisis to affect their energetic signature. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union. What do we see? This is going to feel like a lot of the rinse and repeat that we just saw right now for the energy coming into divine union. The problem is this is feeling a little bit more like something that you are learning to do. Because masculine, this may be talking to feminine in a way that you may have found was very difficult before. This may have been a moment of even amplifying that something in the past, your ability to communicate in this way is showing and amplifying to feminine that you have in fact understood. You have in fact changed. Because what we see here, masculine energy potentially communicating, articulating around all of the energetic connections around you right now with a sense of openness. It makes you feel vulnerable. It makes you feel overwhelmed. It makes you feel anxious to be open in this way. But what do we see that the energy coming into divine union is doing? Proceeding anyway, pushing through one's own sense of discomfort, recognizing that what you give is what you get. You're doing this with the recognition of wanting to give feminine that same clarity, and also knowing that if you provide that to feminine, feminine will give it back to you in kind. This is that balance point. This is masculine giving what they want to get back from the feminine, even if it's difficult for the masculine to do so. Feminine seeing this same sense of confirmation and affirmation of the energy in the divine union frequency, because this is a masculine that's not just moving in a way that makes things easier. They're willing to show an ability to do something hard. And even the masculine's ability to communicate on something that's difficult is almost amplifying to feminine, that is a masculine that prioritizes the comfort level of the feminine energy over their own feeling of emotional comfort. That in itself is an amplification of the choice and the ability to be constant in the frequency of divine union. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is a modality that we see here. That is why we are recognizing that some of the energy right now is almost permitted to be able to heal a lot of karmic energy and proceed forward right now. Feminine energy is potentially releasing right now masculine energy that they feel is not able to do this. This could even be a feminine energy that says, I tried to have this level or degree of clarity with a masculine, but it created a reactivity point. It created a refusal point. I asked them to be clear on what they wanted. They couldn't do that. They were too overwhelmed. They got too reactive. They got too argumentative. That is why we see a lot of feminine energy closed out a cycle right now with masculine. But why is feminine almost feeling that point of healing and victory here? Because this is feminine saying, I told them I hope that they can change. Feminine doesn't feel like this is an ending. This is feminine almost feeling like they sent masculine on a quest, saying when you figured out how to balance your emotions, you know where to find me. When you figure out how to do that, this is feminine almost saying, it's not my job to be able to navigate masculine through their own inability to manage their emotions. In fact, if I stay with the masculine in a place where they haven't learned this, I'm going to pour concrete on it. They're never going to learn this. How are they going to learn it if I'm in divine union with them and they're moving in that place of imbalance? This is why we see a lot of feminine energy right now is feeling that sense of catharsis in separation, because this is feminine energy that doesn't feel like they've released a masculine by any stretch. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This is feminine energy saying they know where to find me. They know what I'm asking for. I told them if they find that within themselves, they know when to find me. And they even can be feminine being like, I don't think if they really got what I was saying to them, but I also recognize that when they do, if they do, they're going to immediately understand what I was trying to tell them. And that in itself is almost a feminine not needing to explain it, because that's feminine saying when they get it, they'll get it. And I know that they know where to find me when they do. Masculine, if in separation right now, this could be a modality wherein you are feeling some kind of point of projection from feminine energy. This could be feeling right now that there's masculine energy that feminine just isn't necessarily willing to be open to you at this time. But again, even now, there's something about this and something about the closing out point, because this could potentially be a moment right now where feminine has amplified to you something that they feel that you're not necessarily being open on. And even now, this is potentially leading to some kind of karmic healing, because masculine energy may feel like there's not something here about a door being closed. This is almost a feminine energy that's almost been amplifying to you in some way, shape, or form, that they feel like you're not prioritizing the partnership over the partnership of the energy around you right now. And honestly, for a lot of masculine energy right now, there could be a moment that you're just saying that you're not necessarily ready to come into divine union. So instead, this is less feeling like, again, you learning how to emotionally balance, more feeling like there's a point here that you feel like you're moving away from something that feels like it's too emotionally difficult right now, and you're leaving yourself open to new possibilities. So for both sides of the energetic frequency right now, we are recognizing that there's a lot of healing coming in. So anything in separation right now, there may be a lot of new cycles that are opening up. And we like this because it's opening new cycles from a point of energetic balance. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is Empress in its reversal. And this is the only hurdle that we're seeing for some of the feminine energy and separation right now. Because while the feminine energy may be feeling that sense of having done the right thing, it's not necessarily putting feminine in this like super amorous place. You remember I told you that fake it until you make it thing right now for a lot of feminine energy and separation. It's feeling a lot like that right now as it relates to some of the new energy that's coming towards you right now. Because again, we see that for a lot of this feminine energy, this release process, this letting go of someone was almost amplified in the fact of amplifying to someone that the desire to be in union with them was not the question. The level of care and affection was not the question. It was the fact that someone's reactivity or someone's inability to communicate what it is that they desire was the prevention point in coming into divine union. So that's a moment that we saw that feminine's kind of going through like a bit of a sad but true modality right now, even if in separation, because while there may be a sense of having done the right thing, making the right choice, almost feeling like you're moving away from something that was creating a situation that feels like it was too imbalanced to be able to have the possibility of divine union with, it doesn't change necessarily your care and consideration towards that energy. It just almost feels like you've reached an inviability moment. And that desire or that aspiration that this energy will learn those lessons and return in a place of better emotional balance, being able to be open and explain and emotionally and like less reactive, is the hope and the aspiration. But we see that you're not lingering or holding on to that hope. You're allowing yourself the opportunity of new possibilities to come through in the interim. And that's why we see that even for some of the feminine energy right now, there could be a feeling like you're allowing in new energetic cycles. You're not necessarily feeling energetically connected to them. But the important thing for the feminine energy in this modality is you understand that even that is a sign of healing. That your ability to push through your own feelings around this right now is, again, much like the feminine energy saying, I'm going to fake that feeling. I'm going to energetically move myself into it, even at a moment I'm not feeling it. Because feminine realizes that in a way, this in itself isn't a way to heal the heart space. Masculine energy and separation right now. This is a modality that you may also be feeling like you're doing this right now. Masculine and feminine in separation. You guys are reflecting each other right now. Masculine, you're potentially putting yourself forward towards feminine energy, but your heart is not in it if this is new energy. Because this is potentially a moment where your heart's desire, you feel like you're in separation from your heart's desire. Why? Because we see here that there's a lot of masculine energy that just had the feminine energy push them away and say, I want to be in divine union with you, but not under these conditions. So masculine, if there's a moment right now of a feminine feeling like they pushed you away, this could be a moment that you are also trying to move away from this feminine because you're feeling like that feminine is saying that you're not ready to be in divine union with. But the problem is your own heart isn't necessarily in it right now because you're still very much connected to that energy that you're feeling that disruption or that separation from. But what's important about this cycle right now that feels like it's different is it's coming with clarity. There's an understanding right now that feels like it's existed for masculine and feminine separation, where the ability to articulate on why something was not working is much higher in degree than it has been before. This is energy that can almost amplify and articulate exactly why something hasn't worked. And that in itself is its own breakthrough. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. Masculine, your own ability to amplify and articulate and explain to energy, not just what it is that you seek, but again, what it is you seek with the energy that you're trying to move into divine union with, while also providing a lot of clarity and context to the energetic connections around you right now, is what is effectively amplifying what feels like it is moving back into some point of productivity as it relates to moving into the divine union frequency. Because the feminine energy is realizing and recognizing that masculine isn't necessarily saying things just for the benefit of the feminine energy. This is feminine energy that may even feel like some of this is a little hard to hear. Some of this is a little bit amplifying feminine's own anxieties and fears. But what are these energies doing right now coming into the divine union frequency? They're doing the hard thing. They're pursuing that hard thing. Feminine is allowing themselves to be receptive and open to hearing masculine be open and vulnerable. And again, not wanting to come into a state of reactivity because they want to almost assure the masculine that while this may be hard for the feminine to hear, that the feminine does not want the masculine just to say to the feminine what they think that they want them to hear. They would like that full level of clarity and transparency. Masculine, you may be seeing and feeling this now. You may be feeling and experiencing a moment that you're recognizing that you're saying some things to the feminine. You're giving them this clarity. It may be hard for them. You may even be recognizing that it's hard for some of the feminine to hear this. But again, you're also understanding that this is a feminine energy that is showing an ability to be in divine union, because this is a feminine energy that isn't necessarily like looking for a masculine that like just says what they want to hear. They want that clarity. They want that openness, because that's how you build a positive divine union. And feminine may be doing the same for you in kind. These are those hard conversations. But again, that ability to have a hard conversation while providing full clarity is almost reaffirming that this is an energetic shift that's allowing you to move into divine union, because that clarity is bringing with it balance. Masculine and feminine in the divine union frequency, this is more of that energy of effectively like faking it until you make it right now. We're not completely out of the woods here. You know, there is a moment that we see here that's about like looking and feeling, almost forcing through and pushing through and maintaining that energetic level that you're trying to maintain here. It's harder for feminine right now because feminine is feeling a lot of this triggering energy in relation to their heart space. Why? Seeing masculine in this place of, these are the energies effectively reflecting each other right now. Feminine sees masculine in a state of emotional overwhelm, starts to make feminine feel uncertain in their heart space because they worry that this is energy that shows a rejection of masculine to feminine. Masculine, you may be seeing that the feminine is pulling back a little bit energetically right now because feminine's also feeling some of that anxiety and fear. So both of these energies are reflecting the negative, but what is the energy in the divine union frequency doing? I told you, remember how like the ball's bouncing back and forth against the wall? They're catching the ball. They're not amplifying the negative. They're suppressing the negative emotion and they're trying to amplify the positive. The only problem right now for the divine union frequency is recognizing that each other is doing it right now isn't necessarily correcting the fact that it's still there. So even now, this may feel like there is a bit of a struggle point, both between masculine and feminine effectively like matching each other in this modality. Masculine not fully expressing what they're emotionally feeling right now. Feminine not necessarily expressing what they're fully feeling right now. But they're doing it, and this is the irony, they're doing it for the benefit of the other energy. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Three of Cups in combination with our Justice card. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with the Knight of Wands in its reversal. This is that masculine energy right now, still feeling some of that anxiety, still feeling some of that fear, still feeling some of that conflict energy that we saw that was rising up over the last few days. Why? The masculine energy in divine union is trying to move in a way to satisfy and do the right thing here for the energy around them in the divine union frequency. That is why we see to a certain extent that masculine's having a little bit of struggle point, because masculine energy may feel like you're walking a very fine line right now in trying to ascertain what would be the best course moving forward. It's hard here. We're even seeing energetically for masculine, this could be feeling some kind of weight or pressure as it relates to doing what you feel like, again, that value point. We see that this has been masculine energy, especially in the divine union frequency right now, moving from a state or place of high integrity. The problem when we hit that modality of integrity isn't necessarily doing the thing you feel is right for yourself. It's doing the thing that you feel is right. The best thing to do. That's not necessarily always the easiest thing to figure out. So we even see here for masculine energy, masculine, you may be feeling right now like you're trying to walk a very fine line. You're trying to please or find that path that is going to allow for that sense of easement, that's going to allow for like the easiest solution through problems right now. But I have to stress, it's not the easiest solution. It is what would be best, the best solution. Masculine, trying to wend your way through this right now and figure out what that path is why we see that some of the energy of masculine has been running so energetically frustrated right now, because this is a very fine line you feel like you're walking. Feminine energy, you may be seeing a masculine in this modality, and that's why we see a lot of the feminine energy is trying not to put additional weight on masculine if in the divine union frequency. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Feminine is almost trying to say to the masculine in some way, shape, or form, don't worry about me. Don't worry, I've got it. It's fine. Everything's fine. Because this is feminine energy that doesn't want to add weight to a masculine that they already see is in this modality. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is that observation point of potentially having very difficult conversations. This is not something that masculine you feel very confident or comfortable doing. This may even be something that you might not necessarily feel confident or comfortable hearing, because this amplification point, the ability to discuss not just the divine union itself, but talking about some of the energetic connections outside of the divine union forming right now, it's rough territory. It's observing that it's there. It's putting one's attention to something. And that's why we see that this is so important right now, because while these may be difficult conversations, they are necessary and productive, because how can we move into divine union? There needs to be that point of objectivity that articulates the difference between the energy in the divine union versus the energy around the divine union. And regardless of what shape that is, the ability to discuss and to be open. And I have to stress this, the ability to be open and discuss what is without is exactly the defining point in the difference between something being without and within. By articulating what something is not is sometimes how we articulate what something is. By creating and defining the shape of the things outside of the energetic spectrum it lends shape to what is existing within the spectrum. And that's why we see that for a lot of the energy right now coming into the divine union frequency, this openness, this ability to talk about outside energy and to bring that clarity and balance and to figure out what feels like it is balanced for both energies is effectively defining and creating the shape of the divine union going forward. It is difficult, but it is productive. Masculine and feminine energy right now, this is potentially a lot of the conversation that's happening for energy and separation right now. And there may be a lot of energy right now, specifically around feminine, amplifying and feeling security in a lot of the choices that you made. Because what is the feminine energy potentially doing right now if in separation? Talking about the energy of the masculine that they may potentially have had to release because the masculine refused to provide this type of clarity. This is potentially even feminine telling other masculine energy right now, or other feminine energy if in separation. Yeah, I could see it plain as on my face. This was an energy. If this is a release process, this is potentially feminine saying, like, I knew what all this stuff around this person was. Anybody with eyes could see what was going on here, but they refused to tell me about it. They refuse to create that clarity. And that's why we see that this is a karmic clearing right now, because this is almost energy of feminine saying they didn't give me any possibility of going forward productively with them, because they gave me in some kind of way, shape, or form some kind of assertion and confirmation that they weren't able to provide context or clarity when I asked for it. And there's no way to move into divine union with an energy that refuses to have those difficult conversations. That is why we see a lot of the feminine energy in separation right now is creating that point of catharsis, because this is a feminine that's almost saying to other feminine energy, I told them that if they're ever willing to learn that, I don't think, and this could even feminine being like, I don't know if they understood what I was saying to them. I told them if they were ever willing to realize that they have to be open and clear, there might be a possibility here. But this is feminine saying, I feel bad because I feel like this person's about to go do this to someone else. Like, this is literally feminine energy talking to other feminine energy about this right now, to say, and feeling that amplification and assertion, affirmation, saying, yeah, if someone's not open with you, there's no productive path forward. Masculine, you may be feeling a modality right now. This isn't potentially, if you're in separation over this, this may feel less like you just are experiencing some level or degree of rejection on the part of a feminine energy. And we're potentially seeing your masculine. There could even be a lot of things right now in terms of like moving towards new energy right now, but your heart isn't necessarily in it, specifically because you're potentially feeling like you're leaving some kind of object of your desire behind, because you feel like there's some kind of rejection path here. But I have to stress, especially if there's some masculine energy in separation right now, if there's energy that's pushing you away in this capacity, the better question to ask yourself is there something that this feminine energy asked you for that you got resistant in terms of discussing with them? Because we see here that even now, there's something about how to proceed forward if in separation that is creating a little bit of a personal struggle moment. Because we see that there's something here for the masculine energy in separation wherein you want to go forward with feminine. Your emotions are there, but you're also feeling some kind of emotional overwhelm that's kind of blocking you and your passion center right now. Because again, this is feeling more like an internal shift that's trying to occur right now, because we see here that there's something about recognizing some kind of adjustment within the self to bring better balance as you potentially move forward right now. Masculine energy, again, this is something that is coming into the forefront that you may be experiencing that is amplifying, again, that feeling, especially if there's a lot of other karmic energy around you right now that's looking or seeking or asking you for this clarity sooner rather than later, which is why we see that for a lot of the masculine energy in separation right now, this may be feeling like a personal journey of finding and understanding what it is that you seek within so that you can amplify it better going forward. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Justice card in combination with our Knight of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? Two cards coming out to clarify. King of Wands in combination with our Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine and feminine in divine union right now. This is why we see to a certain extent, and this is some good energy here because we do feel like there is some balance coming back into play. The problem potentially has to do right now with some of that feeling of, again, what feels like is happening on the surface right now versus what is happening internally. Feminine, masculine. What is this? Look at this. Look at this point of confusion here. This is a lot of, I have to stress, there may be a lot of ups and downs today. There may be a lot of peaks and falls because what we see here is that moment of, again, almost having difficult things to talk about, so turning your attention to the broad. This is that moment of like having a problem with the minutia, so keeping your focus on the bigger picture. That is why we see some of these cards that feel like they're not regulated right now, because again, this is that moment of trying to navigate an internal setback, trying to navigate a small hurdle by not letting yourself overstress this small hurdle. Remember, we've been seeing this energetically that's happening right now, especially in the divine union. Keeping one's eye on the horizon, keeping one's eye on the bigger picture is what is helping energetically right now pull a lot of energy out of any feelings of overwhelm. This is like course correction. This is being able to pull up, if you will. So we see here for masculine and feminine right now, being able to do this is really important. It's a little bit easier for the masculine today because specifically we see, and this is the only thing that we're seeing that's a little problematic, this is feminine energy that has been not trying to put too much weight on masculine, almost giving them this space to be able to pull themselves back out of whatever kind of like emotional or spiritual funk you've been feeling over the last few days. Masculine, you may be feeling like you're getting that point of regulation and clarity right now, specifically again with some of the energy of feminine that's been trying to like help boost your spirits, as it were. The circumstance or situation that's potentially happening right now is a little bit different for the feminine energy if in the divine union frequency right now, because this is feminine energy that has been like taking on a lot of additional weight right now to create a little bit of that clearance for the masculine. So we see here that there may be something that feels like some balance needs to come back right now, because this is almost a feminine energy that's put themselves in a little bit of an emotional or practical deficit, as it were, while allowing the masculine energy some space or place to emotionally and spiritually recover from some circumstances right now. So feminine, this may be feeling right now like there needs to be a little bit of reconnectivity to masculine, even if in divine union, because this is that moment that feminine may be kind of coming forward to masculine, being like, you know, I didn't want to tell you this, or I didn't want to bring this up while you were going through this hurdle, but I could really use help here. I could really use help there. I really am feeling like this. This is feminine now potentially coming forward and bringing these things forward. The masculine feeling like that energetic balance point has been achieved now, that the feminine feels like they can start to try to like give a little bit back towards the masculine in this way. Masculine, you may be seeing this on the part of the feminine, but again, you may almost appreciate a feminine that's been utilizing this point of discernment, like taking on additional weight for the sake of helping you come back into energetic alignment. Masculine and feminine coming back into divine union right now. Energetically, this is effectively what we are seeing, and then this is where we see that the energies are reflecting each other right now. It's difficult. We see here that a lot of these conversations coming into divine union may feel like they're very difficult right now. Masculine, you may be doing everything you can right now to be as open and forthright as feminine as possible, potentially even recognizing that some of the things that you're telling feminine may be things that are hard for the feminine to hear. But again, the beauty of the energy coming into divine union is masculine energy. You are recognizing that this is not a feminine energy that wants you to hold back for the sake of feminine energy's own feelings. That in fact, when the feminine feels like you're only telling them the things that you want them to hear, it doesn't feel so much like you're creating a good environment for divine union for feminine, so much as it feels like feminine feels you're creating a false reality. This is almost a feminine energy that says, I don't want you to create a false reality for my benefit. I want you to care about me enough. I want you to prioritize the partnership enough that you will show me what is true and realize that that is what I value above all things. So we see that for the energy right now coming into divine union, masculine's own ability to say and communicate things that are effectively difficult or things that they may not necessarily have had an ability to in the past is the breakthrough point, because this is a masculine that's almost amplifying that even if it's hard, masculine is showing the ability that it is going to present it to feminine, because masculine is not trying to create a false reality for feminine. Masculine is trying to give feminine energy the clarity that they need to make a choice and to co-create with them going forward. Feminine, seeing a masculine in this modality right now, it may feel somewhat difficult. Feminine, you are also going through your own hurdles in receiving information in this way. But again, the ability of, and this is not a feminine that is amplifying that right now. Feminine energy is almost holding, much like the energy in the divine union, holding that to themselves, because this is feminine energy that doesn't want masculine to hold back it towards communicating these things for the benefit of the feminine energy's own feelings of stability, because feminine is recognizing that they'd rather have something that feels like it is truth, that feels like it is clear, even if it is destabilizing, as opposed to feeling of like a masculine that's only going to sugarcoat or tell the feminine what they think is going to make that positivity for them going forward, because that's feminine energy feeling less like they're in a point of co-creating with masculine and more like a masculine that's trying to like paint an illusory world around the feminine. So we see that even now having these difficult conversations is allowing for balance and breakthroughs. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is potentially a lot of the communication that's happening right now around feminine, and this could potentially be a feminine energy right now. If in separation, there could be a lot of masculine energy coming towards feminine right now, but feminine is looking and seeking this on the part of the masculine energy around them. This is feminine energy that is being very conscientious right now in making sure that this is masculine energy that is being authentic in terms of their emotional availability, and also in terms of giving them clarity about their situation or circumstances. And this is almost feminine energy amplifying potentially to new masculine energy that's coming towards them the importance and significance of an energy that isn't necessarily just going to sugarcoat things or not just tell the feminine what they want to hear, that truly understands that feminine needs that sense and level of clarity going forward. This could even be a feminine energy amplifying and articulating to masculine, if these are new connections, what occurred in the past around a masculine energy that wasn't able to provide this to feminine, and that being the reason that the feminine energy is currently in separation. Masculine energy in separation right now. If you're moving forward towards feminine energy, you're potentially seeing, and this is what's interesting for a lot of the masculine energy in separation right now, you could be seeing a lot of feminine energy right now if you're moving towards new feminine energy that is amplifying and articulating a need and desire to have full understanding about your circumstances and situations in whatever shape that is. And again, amplifying, much like we're saying, because these energies are matching each other right now, the need and desire to feel that point of clarity and observation where you find yourselves at this moment. This could even be a feminine that's leading with the hard part first right now, almost telling you exactly where they are, even if it's difficult, to almost encourage you to do the same, to almost amplify to you, I don't want you to be in a position where you're just trying to like paint something with a broad stroke. I want you to tell me if there's any, this is literally feminine energy of coming into new partnerships, being like, if there's anything you need to tell me now that you think might create something that's going to be a problem, please say it now. And this is literally the feminine, new masculine energy. If you're trying to build connection points with feminine, you may be experiencing it right now. And again, it may be amplifying or feeling to you like something that is like almost speaking right now about trying to immediately ascertain what your last relationship looked like and wanting to know how long ago it was. Like, this is a feminine energy that's almost saying, I want to know all the things, like I want to know all the underbelly of something first. I don't want to move through this like pleasantry phase. This is almost energy and separation being like, tell me the hard thing first. Why are you here? Like, why are you in separation? Why are you in separation? What brought you here today? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Cups in combination with our King of Cups in its reversal. This is probably feeling masculine energy. If you're in separation right now, this could be feeling like a little difficult, especially if you're in a moment or modality masculine where you potentially feel like you just moved out of a separation cycle because feminine didn't feel like you were being open with them about what you want. This is potentially masculine. You're potentially experiencing this right now, even in separation, because even if you're moving towards feminine energy right now, this is feminine energy that's almost immediately probing you emotionally right now. This is immediately probing you emotionally, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Because this is that modality that we're seeing here, that like it's amplifying the fact that you're going, like, you're up and down right now. And we're even seeing that one of the hard things about this is the masculine energy. Your ability right now to navigate through an emotional overwhelm is key. And it's hard today. It's hard today for the masculine energy across the board. Across the board. I want masculine energy. I want you to be very kind to yourself today. Masculine energy, I want you to be drinking your water. I want you to give yourself a bubble bath. I want you to practice every self-care technique you got. Because one of the things that we're seeing right now that's very difficult is masculine. There's something about this right now that is talking about the fact that, like, you're doing your best to, like, stay even keel through some circumstances and situations that are creating not just an emotional overwhelm right now, but the problem around it is there's something about this. It feels like it is challenging to your own feeling of self-control. These are triggering circumstances. These are triggering situations. There's something about the disempowerment of them right now, even for the energy in divine union. Remember how I told you? You intentionally went into this space to, like, stretch your energetic muscles. You've pushed them as far as they can go right now. And even now, the ability to articulate and communicate how you're feeling is going to be very important, because there's almost something here about having to communicate that you've reached that level or that degree of exhaustion, if you will. So that's that moment that we're seeing that is experiencing that point right now, that for masculine energy, this may feel a lot like you're now masculine energy. I have to say, your breakthrough right now is you're being able to communicate to energy and saying, I'm not okay right now. Like I have to stress, your ability to say I'm not okay right now is the breakthrough point, because masculine energy, you've been feeling not okay for a few days right now. The fact that you're now moving into a space or place that you can articulate on that need is progress here. That is a bit of the progress. And it is important right now, masculine energy, that you're not trying to mask this so much, but more so that you're able to really amplify what you're feeling and what you need right now. Feminine energy, you may be seeing this on the part of a masculine, especially if this is a masculine energy that's been putting a brave face on some things over the last few days, because you've been in kind. I have to stress, these energies, look at these two. You're matching each other right now. And what we're seeing that is so important is the fact that for the feminine energy seeing this right now, feminine energy is not trying to amplify or put more weight on a masculine in this. This is not about amplifying the negative space. It's trying to reinforce the positive. And that's why we see, to a certain extent, some of this feminine energy right now isn't necessarily putting a lot of care and attention towards the masculine, so much as they're removing themselves a little bit, because this is feminine energy that's feeling a need or a desire to want to connect with the masculine, but doesn't want to do so in a way that feels like it's going to overwhelm the masculine energy. So we almost see here that even for the energy in the divine union, what is feminine doing right now? They're waiting for masculine energy to lead the way. They're waiting for masculine energy to express the need. This is not a feminine energy that wants to feel like they're helicoptering the masculine. They don't want to be doting on them so much that the masculine feels that emotional overwhelm on this. This is feminine saying, you just tell me what you need, and I will deliver on that need right now. Because this is feminine energy that is just trying to find that sweet spot in terms of waiting for the masculine to be ready to emotionally open up on something. Masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now. This ability, this is a lot of breakthrough energy right now. This is a lot of energy of masculine, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to is what we're really seeing. This ability of masculine to talk about things that feel like they are overwhelming or difficult to say Feminine seeing this on the part of a masculine right now is reaffirming the ability of coming into divine union. Because that ability right now of masculine admitting, expressing the difficult emotional underbelly of something, admitting even potentially their own powerlessness around certain situations right now. This could be a masculine energy coming into divine union right now, talking about past relationships. Potentially even talking about past relationships that still have some kind of energetic hold on them in some way. Masculine energy opening up in this degree, providing this level of clarity or optics, even through something that may not necessarily feel like the masculine is proud to admit, is effectively reaffirming to a feminine right now, even if it's hard to hear, that this is a masculine that has this possibility of moving deeper into divine union with right now. Because again, this isn't a masculine energy that's trying to sugarcoat something for the sake of feminine. This is a masculine energy that's opening up to feminine in a way that they haven't experienced or expressed before. And masculine's own ability to talk about these things is almost reinforcing to the feminine that there's some kind of shift here occurring. Masculine, you may be feeling this shift too, because this could be a moment that you may be finding that you're opening up and being vulnerable to a feminine energy, and you're not necessarily doing it because you think it's going to make you look more attractive in the eyes of this feminine energy. You're not doing it to look more attractive to them. You're doing it because you know it creates balance. You're doing it because you're keeping your focus on what you're creating with them, even if it's hard for them to hear, because you're recognizing that to be able to maintain the divine union frequency, you need to amplify that same level or degree of openness towards that you would like back towards you by being the one that puts it forth. So this is something that energetically is now happening right now for the energy coming into the divine union, ripping the energetic band-aid off of things, if you will, showing each other that vulnerable space, even if it's hard to hear, because that is the viability point in saying, I want you to have that full clarity. I want you to have that full choice. I want you to have that full understanding. I want you to have that full optics. The ability for us to create this between ourselves right now is almost amplifying the difference between what is we are creating between ourselves versus what is outside of ourselves. That's the divine union. Masculine and feminine in separation right now, this is why we see that a lot of feminine energy right now is leaving themselves open to new possibilities of masculine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. But it's not necessarily an easy path right now for feminine, because this is feminine energy that's potentially in the process of releasing a masculine energy that they would aspire or had desired to move into divine union with, but that ultimately didn't necessarily feel like they had the ability to do so. Look at these energies matching each other right now. This is a feminine energy potentially even articulating to new energy the circumstances and situations by which they may find themselves in separation. This could be almost feminine energy giving the new masculine energy, saying, I just got to warn you, I'm just coming out of something. I'm just coming out of something that's very difficult. I'm just coming out of something that's really hard. I'm coming out of something. And this is almost being open. This ability for feminine to almost be open and honest is helping build new connection points with masculine energy, because it's almost feminine saying, I need to tell you what just happened. Because feminine's also wanting to get masculine's take on it. This is feminine energy continuing forward on this healing process, because this is almost a feminine energy that's coming into separation and immediately being able to express it. And that in itself is also further amplification that this is a feminine energy that's ready to move forward on this, because this is a feminine energy that's saying, what I aspire and desire to, this person could not bring balance to. I'm looking for something that creates that sense of balance. Feminine energy is discerning whether they can find that balance in new energy by amplifying how they couldn't find it from the past connection. Masculine energy and separation right now, this could be a moment, and this is the only problem right now with some of the masculine energy and separation. There's potentially a lot of masculine energy right now. This is actually a benefit. Masculine energy and separation right now. You could be around a lot of other masculine energy and separation, but I need to stress here, for some of the masculine energy and separation right now, talking to other masculine energy and separation, it's actually giving you some clarity on something. It's actually giving some clarity to masculine right now in separation. If you're talking to other masculines in separation, you're seeing something exaggerated in that masculine energy. Even now, having been told or shown something to a feminine that you're in separation with, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it from their perspective. So even now, we are seeing that there's something here, masculine, that is amplifying your own healing journey, especially if this is a modality where you're moving back towards some other masculine energy and separation, but suddenly the way they're moving or something that they're saying is almost amplifying something that you might not necessarily have seen before. And even that is building some point of healing, because this is masculine energy in separation, having some kind of note that you took with you from that separation point that is providing some kind of emotional understanding that is being further amplified by the other masculines that you're potentially surrounded by right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our King of Cups in its reversal and our Empress in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Oh, gosh, these kids. All right. Nine of Cups in its reversal. What's happening right now in divine union? What is this? This is more of that ironic factor that's happening right now in divine union. Masculine and feminine. What happens when we put on a brave face? When we put on a brave face, we don't show each other everything. Masculine and feminine right now are intentionally doing this in divine union. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Why? Because look at these two. They're matching each other right now. And they're both feeling the anxiety and weight in making something worse by amplifying to the other what is the burden. What is the problem? But this is the gift. This is almost, in a way, this is trying to protect one another from the harder things, from that heaviness that one is feeling. Both energies right now are kind of doing this, and it's requiring them to keep their cards like close to their chest, if you will, because this is feminine and energy, that masculine, they're trying to like ease each other's energetic burden and not add to the burden that you see that the other one is experiencing right now. So this is, again, in a way, this is an act of love that is occurring right now in the divine union frequency, but it is creating something that is creating a bit of distance even in the divine union right now, because, again, if you're in a negative space and you don't want to amplify the negative, this is the energy just trying to like hold back. And even that is almost creating a little bit of a friction point, because it's almost seeing and feeling like the energy that you're around right now isn't being completely open, but they're doing it for the benefit of the other energy. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This ability right now, you're doing like the opposite. In a way, the energy coming into the divine union frequency, that's where like, this is important, because this is that moment that you're potentially looking at each other right now and you're wanting, a lot of it is discernment. This is almost a very fine path that is being walked right now for the energy coming into divine union. Because it's not necessarily effectively feeling like you're going to reveal everything right now. But also, it's trying to be very observant and reveal as much as you feel like you can. Like, this is that energy of looking and saying, what should I reveal versus what feels like it's a bridge too far right now? Potentially even feeling and recognizing that some of this energy feels the anxiety. You have to bear in mind a lot of this energy coming into the divine union frequency right now. Something about not creating the correct optics led to separation in the first place. This is why we see right now that discernment, that point of trying to feel that like frustration on whether or not to, how far to reveal right now does feel like a challenging point for both energies, because it's almost that amplification or fear that's happening in the fear of potentially not revealing something that someone would then thus hold against you, but also not wanting to reveal something so much that it's feeling of pushing someone away in the midst of trying to come into divine union with them. So this is feeling very much like an id-ego journey right now, because again, it's almost that fear or anxiety of not revealing enough right now that is amplifying a feeling of anxiety, even for the energy moving into the divine union frequency, but almost trying to amplify and articulate that you're doing everything you can to be as open as possible, recognizing that there's always some parts that are going to be harder for you to open up or express. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is effectively that mutual feeling of separation that's being pronounced right now, which is, again, masculine and feminine both in separation and not wanting to be in separation. Feminine doesn't want to be in separation from this masculine energy, especially if this is a masculine energy that they feel like the only reason they were in separation is because masculine wouldn't be open about what they wanted or was too reactionary with their feelings. Masculine, you may be feeling right now like you're feeling some experience of rejection right now from a feminine, because it's almost a feminine that was amplifying in some way. They were pushing you feel like they were pushing you away because, and amplifying to you that you weren't being open enough with them. So we see that for both energies right now, this is that moment that feels very frustrating, because again, it is that moment of feeling that need or desire to open up to the other one, but not necessarily knowing what to do. Feminine doesn't want to overgive to situations or circumstances that don't give back in kind. That's why feminine is feeling this energetic blockage right now. Feminine's like, I can't give forth to someone that doesn't meet me in the same place. Masculine, you may be feeling like the feminine's holding back from you right now. And that feeling of holding back is making you question whether the feminine cares about you. But we see here that this isn't a question about the feminine not caring about you. This is a feminine energy that feels like you didn't open up to them as it relates to how you really feel and what you really desire. So we see for both of these energies right now, this is feeling like these energies are matching each other in separation. So it's heavy because both wishes that the other one would just open up to them. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Wands, our King of Wands in its upright, Knight of Wands in its reversal, King of Wands in its upright, Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. Ugh. One card to clarify. Yeah, and the problem with it is like being in solitude right now is not necessarily solving anything. Both of these energies, especially the energy in separation right now, the ability to be like the desire to not, I have to stress, these are not energies right now that want to be in separation. These are energies right now that feel in one way, shape, or form that the circumstances or situations are forcing solitude upon the situation or circumstance. Feminine would very much like, again, this is a feminine energy that has released a masculine for feelings that the masculine wasn't giving forth in the way that they needed them to in order to build a divine union with them. This is feminine that almost feels to a certain extent that they amplified the masculine. When you're able to share this, when you're able to talk like this, when you're able to be open, there's some kind of accessibility point here. And this is why we see that so much of this feminine energy is feeling so frustrated right now. Because again, it is feeling the energy of a masculine they know desire them. This could even be a masculine that's trying to move towards feminine again, but not if they're not giving them what the feminine asked for, which is that clarity and intentionality. This is feminine that feels like they have to push them away because it's almost like a masculine that's refusing to give them clarity, is only trying to connect with them from the passion center. And this is almost feminine that feels that frustration and saying, it's not that I don't want to be with you. It's that passion cannot be the sole driver in our connection. The passion doesn't go anywhere. The passion doesn't offer any clarity. The passion is just that. It's passion. And this is feminine almost saying to masculine, I refuse to be in your life if all you see me as something that you approach as the solution to solving that feeling of passion. This is feminine almost saying to masculine, like there has to be more here. And even if there's passion that's driving this, there can be clarity in that passion. You can tell me what that looks like. You can tell me what that ideal is. So we're seeing here that this is a feminine saying, like almost moving and saying to masculine. This is why the feminine is in separation right now and feeling that frustration, because this is feminine saying, like, I am releasing you not because of a lack of desire for you, but because of an aspiration that this will change into a point of clarity. Masculine in separation from feminine right now, this may be feeling like a point of frustration, because this could be a feminine that you may want to move forward right now from a place of passion. And you may even be trying to communicate on that, but this is a feminine that's almost like blocking you and saying no, because you may be also recognizing that this is a feminine that's saying, you have to come towards me with something more than passion. You have to come forward towards me with a plan. This is feminine saying, when you have a plan, come back. When you're able to articulate on that plan, come back. And masculine, this could be a moment that, again, if you're feeling like this is a feminine energy that's forcing you out of that modality, then that is a bit of the problem here, because masculine energy right now, if this is that moment, this may be feeling like a point of frustration, because this is feeling like the feminine is creating some instability for you right now. And that's almost a moment that you're potentially feeling and recognizing and wondering if there's other energy around this energy right now. Because it's like, it's this moment, and this is why we see, this is so hairy, because this is really like, it's really amplifying masculine. It's forcing you to look at what it is that you want. The problem that we're seeing right now, masculine, again, a lot of this energy right now in separation, there's something that you're experiencing within the self about amplifying to feminine what you want going forward that is experiencing some level of blockage here. And this blockage is either one that you're experiencing within the self, as in you don't know what it is that you want with that feminine energy, or there's something here that you may be recognizing and acknowledging that you feel some kind of internal barrier in communicating with the feminine in this way. So again, more of this path work that's effectively happening at this time, because this could be amplifying and you feeling like a feminine's trying to demand you move into something right now, instead of recognizing that this is potentially feminine energy that's not asking you to change your modality, just to provide clarity. Masculine and feminine coming back to divine union right now. Masculine, you're experiencing this. If you're moving back into divine union with the feminine, you're having a difficult conversation. It may feel unsettling for both of you. Feminine may be providing you with clarity as well. That mutual sense of clarity is difficult, but it's productive, because it is that moment. And we see here that the only issue that's happening potentially for the energy coming into divine union right now is feeling like you're getting optics on things that you didn't necessarily see before. So even that level or degree of clarity that's happening right now, it's difficult, but it's productive, because it's showing you things that you haven't seen. Some energy may fall back into separation over this. Some will continue forward into divine union, because it's almost this moment in terms of the energy, recognizing that you are doing this mutually right now, that is allowing for that path forward, because it's that mutual recognition and being like, I guess we both weren't being completely clear to each other, but now we're being clear, and that's going to be productive. Or energetically, someone potentially saying, I don't feel like you were as expressive about this. Like, I don't think that you were expressive about this before. And that could potentially lead to some energy falling back into separation right now, if you're going to focus on the fact that these things weren't being brought forth sooner rather than later. But this level or degree of clarity is allowing for productivity that's continuing on into the divine union frequency for some of the energy here. Masculine and feminine in the heart of the divine union frequency right now. The problem that we're seeing right now is both masculine and feminine aren't being completely forthright to each other right now, but it's due to the fact of not wanting to increase or amplify the burden on each other's energy. Both energies right now are trying to give each other space. The problem with the divine union is it doesn't allow for a lot of opportunity sometimes to have that internal space that's needed. So we see to a certain extent that feminine is almost holding back from masculine to see and wait until masculine's, back in that space or place that they feel like they're ready to plan and push forward on this right now. Masculine, you may be feeling and recognizing a feminine that's been holding back, putting this weight on you, because they're waiting for you to come into this modality right now. So both energies right now, you're feeling somewhat isolated from one another. You're doing it, but it's almost like this imposed self-isolation, not wanting to increase the burden on the other. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between There's a lot of masculine energy. It's all over the board today. Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Between our King of Wands in combination with our Emperor in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now makes sense. The Seven of Pentacles in its reversal. Masculine energy. There's a lot of feelings of impatience coming to the forefront today. I want you to do everything you can right now to navigate those feelings of impatience. Remember, one of the reasons we saw that a lot of this journeying and this intentionality began was to amplify your own healing. There's something right now that you're pushing on that is triggering to you, because there's something that we're seeing for the energy of the masculine energy and divine union right now that is amplifying the difference between what you desire versus what feels like it's being imposed upon you. It's challenging your own feeling of self-autonomy. It's challenging your own feeling of self-determination right now. You are hitting that dividing line between like your path forward versus some kind of personal hurdle today. And that's why we see that there may be something today for masculine energy that feels like it is triggering, because it may amplify you potentially feeling like you're losing patience to a certain degree. So masculine, I want you to count to 10 today, because it may make you feel like a little bit short right now. It may be making you feel like it's hard to control your temper. It may be feeling right now like you're running out of patience on something. So, masculine, I want you to really try to refocus and center and recognize the value and importance of keeping that eye on the long-term path and the long-term goal instead of any immediate hurdles or shortcomings that may present themselves. Feminine energy, this is why we see some of the feminine energies handling the masculine energy, even in divine union right now, with a little bit of kid gloves. See why? How the feminine energy seeing a masculine that is navigating the space between the plans that they aspire to in the long term versus personal setbacks or hurdles may be creating a space or place where the masculine energy feels a little bit more temperamental. Feminine energy is feeling it too. Everybody's got a little bit of that like bee in their bonnet today, okay? So I want everybody be calm. When everybody just let yourself just move through it. Remember that even this feeling is momentary. Okay, that's what's going to help right now. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union. You know, one of the things that we're seeing here, I have to stress here, and this is going to come through. If there are situations and circumstances right now where you're having difficult conversations and that ability to hold back on things right now, this is potentially why we're seeing that some of the energy right now is navigating what they want to open up to and what they don't, because there's a sense or a feeling right now that these are difficult topics, especially potentially talking about outside connection points. There could be something that feels like it is triggering here. Masculine, it may even now having these conversations with feminine, you may be feeling like some of that trigger gets hit. You may be feeling like even now, because masculine, you're potentially observing and getting optics on things and seeing connections to outside energy that you didn't necessarily see before or identify. Feminine, you're providing this to feminine as well. This ability to do so may make everyone feel a little bit more temperamental, but again, the ability to work through a trigger is being best articulated by the fact that there's an identification point in terms of recognizing that it is allowing for immediate change. That the ability to do so now, for the energy coming into the divine union, that ability to open up in this way is amplifying the ability to come into a better divine union, moving into that, because that's that moment of almost looking at something and feeling the difference between someone opening up and revealing something to you because they're willing to change it, because the union itself is the priority. And I think recognizing this right now is going to help amplify the energy that's continuing forward in divine union, because opening up in this way almost allows a feeling and recognition that something here has changed. So for the energy that's continuing forward into divine union right now, that ability of addressing something and seeing that you're having conversations now, in effect, is changing what those connections are, is the significant factor. Some energy may fall back into separation over this right now, especially if these conversations become so triggering that they become a source of anger and frustration as opposed to productivity. A lot of processing today. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is feminine energy almost amplifying to new masculine energy, especially if they're trying to move forward right now out of through a karmic cycle, in terms of basically having to say to new possibilities of masculine energy. There was something I was growing with someone. I finally had to decide that I had to let it go. Why did the feminine say that they had to let it go? Because they're amplifying something around a masculine energy from the past that they may be saying. They wouldn't give me clarity on what we were growing together, or they were too reactive, and it didn't allow for a positive path forward. This is feminine almost telling masculine energy this today of in separation, almost from a point of insight and clarity. This is feminine energy literally getting other insight from other masculine energy to affirm and to provide them further clarity on what they experienced. Masculine, if in separation right now, this could be masculine energy in separation talking to other masculine energy in separation. The problem and hurdle here right now for the masculine energy in separation is either this is masculine energy in separation getting clarity from a masculine that may be amplifying something that the feminine brought forth so the masculine can see it better. Or masculine, this is potentially you going towards another masculine energy that is amplifying what the feminine told you that may have caused some of the fracture point. So something about this right now, the mirroring of masculine, seeing either the positive or the negative, like seeing that negative aspect from a clearer perspective also of the masculine, is in a way helping, because it's almost affirming a deeper lesson that you're happening within yourself as it relates to a feeling of self-mastery, a feeling of understanding of the self. So in both ways right now for masculine energy and separation, a lot of insight coming in today that feels like it's being amplified through other masculine energy. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Emperor in its reversal in combination with our Nine of Cups in its reversal. Clarification. This is what we like to see. Look at this. You see how like the shift happens? You see how the shift happens? What's feminine energy doing right now in divine union? Feminine energy is literally matching. Feminine feels the same exact way as masculine right now. Is feminine showing that to masculine? Heck no. This is feminine going, heck no. This is feminine saying the buck stops here emotionally. Feminine energy recognizing, again, feminine realizes, the feminine energy in divine union realizes that they can be a very strong reflector of what the masculine brings forth. This is feminine calling a halt to that right now. This is feminine energy not wanting to amplify that feeling in the masculine, even though it's already having some kind of internal impact. These energies are matching each other, but this is feminine that's helping the masculine move back out of that modality right now, because this is feminine energy that has mastered the art of being able to pull, not reflect the negative, but to alchemize it into the positive. So what is feminine energy doing right now? Feminine energy is maintaining emotional balance, emotional composure, not allowing that point of reflectivity to become like the negative ball bouncing against the walls here. This is feminine energy that's almost saying, like, I'm not going to express those back to the masculine right now. I'm going to express what I want to give forth here, holding that ball up. And especially if this is masculine energy that may be feeling more short or temperamental right now, we are seeing that this is feminine energy saying, I'm not going to return that energetically back to the masculine, because that's not going to help here. This is feminine energy that's trying to maintain a point of emotional composure, as it were, to amplify what it is that they're trying to create and maintain balance on. So even now, masculine, this could be a modality wherein And then again, masculine, this is a moment that we see that you yourself, even in divine union, you're doing the same work for feminine. This is a masculine that isn't necessarily wanting to be fully open and feminine because it feels like there's something about expressing that negative right now that feels emotionally overwhelming. It doesn't feel like it's bringing masculine. This is a masculine now feeling the weight of trying to navigate their own emotional overwhelm in a way that doesn't make them feel disempowered. This is hard right now for the masculine. Feminine is trying to say to the masculine, it's okay. You don't need to be forced to be in that modality. We can find that balance point. We just need to maintain it. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now for the energy coming into the divine union frequency. What we see here, much like this, what is the feminine doing? Masculine may be revealing things to feminine right now that are difficult to hear. That clarity, that optics, is feminine reacting to it? No. Because feminine energy doesn't want to amplify to a masculine right now something in relation to the fact of not saying to the masculine. This is feminine that's trying to amplify to masculine that the feminine does not want masculine to hold back for the sake of feminine energy's own emotions. This is feminine that doesn't want masculine to put feminine in an illusory world. This is feminine that wants honesty from the part of masculine. So feminine is maintaining a point of balance right now to amplify what they want back, even while they may be feeling the same trigger point as the masculine in this modality. Masculine, you may be seeing a feminine that is able to experience these things and not lose emotional balance. That in itself is affirming about coming into divine union right now, because that's masculine feeling like there isn't a feminine here that gets triggered, that there's a feminine energy that when they say they want that honesty point, they're not going to use it against you. They're trying to show you that that is something that they are truly ready to receive. And that in itself is almost amplifying an ability to move forward with feminine deeper into the divine union spectrum. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is why we see feminine may be approaching masculine right now. And again, what's feminine doing in separation? Feminine energy is being honest and clear with themselves. Feminine energy isn't pretending that they don't have feelings to some masculine energy right now. This is feminine energy that's almost saying like, yeah, I care about that person, but there's an inviolability point in terms of our own ability to come into divine union because they either lack the portion of self-control necessary to maintain stability in divine union, or they won't be open and honest with me. They didn't want to co-create. That's that moment of feminine feeling that emotional balance, recognizing that they can hold space for that emotional weight while going forward. Masculine in separation right now, this modality is one that may feel more frustrating today, because masculine, this could be a moment of potentially looking towards feminine that you have this connection point with and feeling like, again, a feminine that it's maintaining their emotional composure on something. This is a feminine energy that's looking at something to a certain extent and potentially saying to you, I feel like you are lacking an ability of self-control, or you're not opening up to me right now. And even that modality right now may be feeling very triggering for you, masculine. You may be even articulating that to other feminine energy for a point of insight, because we see here masculine energy. There's a lot of energy here in separation where there may be a lot of feedback and conversation occurring. Continuing to get clarity right now between our Hermit in its reversal and our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? This is interesting because even in the divine union frequency right now, we see that there may be something that feels a little bit akin to what can be defined as an energetic disruption. But I have to stress, this point of observation is a point of productivity. Because for the energy right now of the in divine union frequency, this observation point, being able to look at something and say, I feel like we're falling out of connection, I feel like we need to reconnect, the ability to observe that is the advantage of the energy in the divine union frequency, because it allows for a point of mindfulness in terms of trying to preserve the connection and what you can do and maintain as it relates to going forward right now. Masculine and feminine coming into the divine union frequency, you are doing this right now. You're doing that hard work of recognizing that you don't just trip into a good partnership. A good partnership is something that requires care, maintenance, attention, observing the partnership and seeing what needs to be adjusted or accommodated for. Energy right now in separation, that observation point of looking at something and feeling like something was showing not some way, shape, or degree that it was not possible to maintain. That is why we see so much energy right now healing and moving on from a connection point. And it's not coming from a lack of care. It's feeling to a certain extent that someone would not provide the clarity that was required and not wanting to waste any more time. That is why we see even now, if new energy is trying to come into connection, amplifying that, amplifying what didn't work is potentially how new energy is connecting, because it's through the connection of explaining like why you are in separation right now that may be leading to new energetic connections. Clarification between our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Queen of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? This is how we restore and recover from some of that crisis energy that we saw over the last few days. Masculine and feminine energy right now. I have to stress, being able to talk about something in past tense, something that occurred, is effectively what is allowing for that point of productivity. Feminine energy is waiting right now for masculine to be ready to articulate on something. That's why we see right now, this is a feminine that's not necessarily pushing something in divine union right now. This is a feminine energy that's almost saying to masculine, when you are ready, I'm here. When you're ready, I am available. I am patient. I'm not putting my emotional needs on you to work through something right now. I'm waiting for you to be ready to do it. And when you are, I will stay emotionally balanced as I wait. Masculine, you may be seeing a feminine energy in divine union right now that is helping you heal through something, because again, this isn't a feminine energy that is exacerbating the negative here. This isn't a feminine energy that's putting additional weight on you. This is feminine energy that sees you going through a moment of trying to navigate difficult situations and feeling that level of impatience. And feminine, I was saying to masculine in that modality, I'm not a part of that. I'm not going to add that weight to you. I'm going to wait in the wings here emotionally. I'm going to take care of what I need to take care of, and I'm going to work on helping to fix this. When you are ready to emotionally address something, know that I am here. And that, in a way, is amplifying to masculine the connectivity of that connection, because, again, this is a feminine energy. It's not just the fact that this is feminine energy that is recognizing and a part of a point of healing through crisis. It's feminine energy that doesn't exacerbate the crisis point. They stay even-keeled throughout it. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. Feminine's own ability right now to experience what masculine you may have felt would have been something that you thought that you were going to bring to the feminine that would have brought like a disaster point. But instead seeing a feminine that's staying balanced. You took that risk. Remember, you took that leap of faith. Feminine asked you to be vulnerable. And you were worried it was going to lead to disaster. But instead, your vulnerability, your ability to give them that clarity, seeing that it's creating a space of productivity, is potentially helping you recognize the value and power of coming into divine union, because it doesn't necessarily mean that feminine is going to amplify that or utilize that against you. This is almost a feminine saying, thank you. Thank you for being clear. Thank you for finally opening up. Thank you for showing this to me. Now we can fix something. Now we can do something about it. Thank you for giving me those coordinates. Thank you for showing me where you are. Now we can do something productive with it. Feminine, you may be experiencing that as well right now. A masculine that, again, if you're moving into divine union, it's not that everything is potentially perfect. But the ability of a masculine to open up, to show you that hard thing, is giving you something to work with. And that's allowing you to come back into the divine union frequency. And your ability to effectively stay even keeled through this, even if it's hard to hear, is navigable. And that is what we see is allowing for this point of productivity. Energetically right now, this is why if feminine energy is in separation, again, the only reason we see feminine energy in separation right now is if a masculine energy refused to provide this clarity in terms of what they desired from the feminine, or what the feminine was experiencing, or creating some point of reactivity instead of clarifying that. This is why we see a feminine energy staying emotionally balanced right now, because feminine energy feels to a certain extent that they're moving away from a place or space where they're rebalancing They're not wanting to put their time, effort, and energy in something that isn't coming into fruition. And in a way, this is why for feminine energy, if in separation right now, this is feeling like a moment of emotional recovery. Masculine energy in separation from feminine right now, this may be feeling like a moment of trying to come into recovery right now. And again, this modality may be expressed in terms of feeling right now like there is a feminine energy that is a point of emotional balance, but is also kind of lost a level or degree of patience. What's interesting about this right now, masculine, is this isn't a feminine energy right now that is moving from a point of volatility through a point of impatience. This is a feminine energy that may be feeling right now like they're trying to say to you in some way, shape, or form, this is something I want to maintain emotional balance on. I want to put distance here because this is feminine coming into a point of recovery. The problem, masculine energy right now, is potentially feeling like you're now in separation from a feminine energy that maintains and has a lot of this like energetic or emotional composure. And this may be feeling like for a lot of the masculine energy, seeing this, something that you're trying to recover or restore towards right now and looking at how you can. So this is either masculine energy trying to move towards new energy through that point of recovery, or masculine energy, this is trying to figure out how you can reaffirm to a feminine energy if in separation that you truly understand what needs to change. Final card for today's spread between our Two of Cups in its reversal and our Tower in its reversal. Clarification coming through right now with our Two of Wands. This is not helpful. So one of the things that we need to stress right now, the problem is communication. It's really important right now for the energy and divine union to make sure that you're clarifying, communicating, planning right now. There are hurdles right now that are being experienced. There are frustrations. There are things that have not been discussed. Why have they not been discussed? Because energetically we see that there's been a desire not to want to put additional weight on difficult situations right now. But we're seeing now that now is a little bit of a point of recovery because there's been some lack of communication occurring and planning in the wake of trying to come into some point of recovery. So we see that a lot of this today may be trying to navigate some of these situations or circumstances that require a little bit more clarity and communication, because this is all coming through as like a point of recovery, even for the energy in the divine union, which may be feeling a little bit more separated right now. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union. This ability right now to identify and clarify, it feels like restoration, but it's also potentially amplifying what needs to be fixed, especially if this is energy coming back into divine union, because this is being clearer with each other than you ever have before. It's almost amplifying how much progress you've made, but it almost is, it's creating like a lot of a cleanup space here, because there's something that feels like, you know, you guys haven't been as open and honest and upright towards each other as you are now. And now is that moment that we either see that this is either leading to a point of restoration, being able to observe what needs to change, and this is what's allowing for some viability going forward, or this may bring some energy back into separation right now in terms of someone feeling frustrated that this wasn't necessarily such an open environment prior to this. Masculine and feminine in separation right now. This is literally masculine and feminine in separation, recovering right now from some of that unhealed karmic energy. If this is energy that's closing out a karmic cycle right now, this is what is creating that space that feels so difficult, because again, it may feel like something that is for the best. This observation of a separation that's happening that feels like an act of recovery, but it's still difficult because the desire to want to restore it is there. It's almost requiring a level or degree of not communicating with someone that you desire to communicate with that can feel very heavy right now. Because again, feminine energy is moving from that like sad but true modality, hoping that masculine can learn these lessons. Masculine, you may be feeling right now that there's something that you're trying to put forth to the feminine, that the feminine's saying in some way, shape, or form isn't what they desire. So we see for both of these energies right now, it can be very painful because it could be feeling like there's a separation here with the possibility of recovery, but the uncertainty and the waiting for the other one to express what it is that you're waiting for. It's like both energies are waiting for that energetic lesson to occur. Bottom of the deck on this reading, it's all about comfort level. Masculine and feminine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. We see that for the energy in the divine union right now, the circumstances and situations that you're in right now, they're creating some space or place of discomfort. There may be some tangible changes that are needed right now that are being expressed in the tangible space. This could be something feeling very practical for a lot of the energy in divine union right now. Like there are tangible obstacles here. Masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now. This discussion is about what you're comfortable with. This is why we see, remember, these energies said to each other, tell me what it is you want, and I'll see where we overlap. So what are we talking about now that's so difficult? What is not in that space? What's on the outside of the borders of that? What is the area that may need modification and adjustment that's being seen? And someone being like, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with this. This is what needs adjustment. So even now, this could be feeling like that hairy area in between. In separation, the energy in separation right now, it's not due to a lack of desire to be with one another. It has to do with the conditions at play in order to be in union with one another. This is why we see a lot of feminine energy may be feeling frustration, because this is almost feeling to a certain extent like feminine asked masculine for that point of clarification and did not receive it, which is feminine always saying, I had to go. I had to break away from something because the circumstances to be in something with a masculine were simply too uncomfortable. They were too difficult. There was no place to thrive. It was one that felt more like a situation of a captive as opposed to a co-creator. While for masculine right now, this feeling of disruption is potentially feeling, if this is what's happened that's led to separation, of a feminine that's moved away from you and finding that space in between, almost a feminine that's been at a point of trying to articulate to you what their dissatisfaction point is. There's something about being in separation right now that's amplifying it. There may be something here that you're seeing right now, potentially even around other masculine energy, that's amplifying something that the feminine energy brought forth to you. That is our daily collective read for today. I would like to thank you so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you'd like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, gracestrega.com. My private readings are done over video. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing in these messages. And we will do this again tomorrow.